This video is more about the sound. Take a listen. Where you land versus where you're planted. Some have the capacity to evolve, and others just maintain where they land. Not everyone is going to be in your bubble all the time. There will be seasons where you will be alone without anyone to call on but God. Don't let anyone tell you who you are. At best, they can tell you what their experience of you was, and a majority of that is about them anyway. Stephen Owens. I understand now why some people get up at 4 or 5 a.m. It's still quiet, and you can guarantee that you may get some work done. I'm not a stranger to the break of dawn. However, I don't want to be more than acquaintances. The idealized life I have for myself may only be achieved with such a schedule. Endurance is the key. I'm so used to having a nap or some kind of pit stop during my day to break it up so that I'm not so burnt out towards the end. I'm still figuring out how to fit that in there. The phrase we've all heard, work smarter, not harder, means what now? I'm discovering that where you can manage to outsource your tasks, it would be beneficial to do so to pretty much buy back your time. I've recently finished watching The White Lotus, season 1, an HBO comedy drama series. Shows like this are right up my alley, and it's so tempting to stay up and binge the entire season. All the characters are phenom, as Olivia, played by Sydney Sweeney, would say. There are people, couples, singles, families who come to the spa resort to vacate. Spoiler alert. One pair of newlyweds, their storyline I found to be particularly interesting. A wife who, on her honeymoon, discovers she's nothing more than a trophy wife to her husband, her handsome husband, that is, and she reevaluates her self-worth, constantly blown off by all her other interactions with all the other characters when faced with her mother-in-law, who does nothing but sing her praises on how beautiful she is. Remembering nothing of the wedding, she's told she doesn't have to do anything but be happy. Why work? So I'll stop there with the plot. In the upper echelon, people understand how to make their money work for them to free up time to do other things, be it leisure, charity, owning a business, spending time with family, travel, whatever the case. This character, Rachel, wanted to work on her career, but her husband informs her she doesn't have to do any of that. She can do whatever she wants but work. Because why would you want to work? For dignity, self-respect? It's her response. Because that's the way a certain class of society has been programmed to think. So I wrestle with this just as much as Rachel did, who eventually had the guts to express that she feels that she's made a mistake about being married to her husband, Shane. She feels alone when she's with him, and his response is, then be alone. And they split briefly. He mentioned that they would be on a dark path. Now, watching this series, I'm speculating, is he an abuser? Will he leave her? Like, is he going to go off the hinges? No, he literally didn't have the capacity to do any of that. He was exactly what she said he was, a man baby coddled by his mom. Her last cry out for advice was to Belinda, an experienced spa worker and a great listener, but unfortunately she was out of anything to offer to anyone else, having had her hopes up the entire series for a guest to sponsor her business idea that would never come to fruition. To my surprise, at the last episode, Departure, Shane is seen in the airport by himself. The viewer is led to believe that this break is going to be a permanent one between the two. Surprisingly, Rachel shows up and says she'll be happy. He embraces her, and all is well. So I'm like, what? You're going to just negate all those feelings that you had before and toss them out the window? And this goes back to my opening line. Some have the capacity to evolve, and others just maintain where they land.